Hey, do you like multiplication?
Maybe. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's cool. I like math.
Cool.
Hey guys, this is Mr. Let's go over quiz number 8, version B. Using the letters in question 2, so using one of these letters, match the following by putting one of these letters in that blank. Well, they want standard form, and standard form has no parentheses. So the only one that has no parentheses is choice F. Okay, number 2, match the following by putting one letter underneath the graph. One equation will not be used. I told you guys straight, that was a mistake. Okay, so E is factored form when you realize that the P is 1 and Q is 5. So if you had the graph going through, that's 5, that's 2.5, so something like this and this. If the graph was going through there, then I would use this one. Now it is opening up, but again, I'm not choosing E because it doesn't go through those 2 points. Okay? Let's look at some other choices. No, I'm not going to choose I or G because these are negative, so they're facing down. So the probably will be faced down. Okay? This one's up, so my A value is positive. Now if you notice this graph, you have it in standard form. And my C value, which is my y-intercept, that is -1. Okay, so up, positive, up, that would match, and the y-intercept. Now you could have spent the time to find the axis of symmetry and to match it, and it should work. Okay. Okay, question number 3. Use the square root property to find the solutions. So here I have A is 1, B is -12, C is 6. 36. A times C is 36. My B value is -12. The two numbers that multiply to be 36 are 6 and 6. But if I add them together, they have to be negative, so negative. So remember, you don't need, when your A value is 1, you just use the X. When A is greater than 1, you should be using the X and the box. So I have X minus 6, X minus 6. And when you have 2 of those, then you can do X minus 6 squared. To get rid of the power of 2, we're going to take the square root of both sides. Remember, you can do that, you must add plus or minus right away. The square root of 144 is 12 and 12. So the pairs come out. I'm going to add 6 right there. So that means X equals 6 plus or minus 12. That's 6 plus 12 gives you 18. 6 minus 12 is -6. Your choice answer should be B. Not B. Okay, number 4. Graph the quadratic function has vertex -3, -2. What is the axis of symmetry? So, this is the vertex, so let's graph it. I made a really messy graph. So this is the origin, 1, 2, 3, -3, down -2. Okay, so that's my order pair. So that is my parabola. Could be facing up or down, doesn't matter. What's important is to know that this order pair is the vertex. In this case, it could be a minimum or a maximum. But what's most important is the order pair, the x value, is your h value for the vertex. So that means this equation has an equation of x equals -3. and then the choice of A. Okay, I read it to the class. A lot of students didn't do this directions even though I walked you through it. Make sure to show all your work and box your answers. Circle and complete one problem, okay? So I should have seen this circled up here or number 6, okay? If you were like, if this was a student's paper and they did the problems, then default it says, if you don't circle one, I'll choose one. Most of the time I graded just the top one just because it was more convenient. Number 5. Convert the standard form, so I know it's in standard form because there's no parentheses, into vertex form, which means this one you should know that you should be using CTS. So let's do that first part first, okay? And then later we'll talk about identifying. So part number 1, I'm going to complete the square. So CTS is b divided by 2. Your b value is -4, half of that is -2, and -2 squared is 4. Okay? Now with this 4, if you just got that correctly, I gave you 2 points. CTS is correct. Okay? You just wrote a 4 here. To apply it correctly, to get the 3 points, is that this sign has to be -4. Okay? Because if you add those together, again, that equals 0. Now for those who kind of made there an equation, and you put on the other side +4, that would have been correct, but then you would have to move it back over. Okay, so if you factor here in the yellow, using your x, then you would have gotten this as your answer. Put it together, you have x minus 2 squared. 7 minus 4 is 3. And then the second part says to identify the vertex as an ordered pair. Okay, so I'm going to put vertex form. A is 1, H is 2. Notice I did not get the subtraction sign here. Okay, so H is 2, and then your K value is 3. So that's how you would have gotten full credit. You would have gotten 3.75 if you had the vertex form here, but could not identify the ordered pair. Okay? So this is part 2, vertex and vertex form. Okay. Question number 6. Write the equation from the parabola below in standard form. Okay, so we're going to write an equation first. And a lot of you guys were very good. What I liked about what you guys did is from our packet, right? Is it factored, standard, or vertex form? Which one of these? Well, if you identify the parts that I have these. These are x-intercepts. And that would be factored form. Okay? The common mistake here for a lot of students was to pick vertex form. Vertex form is incorrect because this right here, this black dot I'm putting, that is the vertex. This 0, 6 is a point, but it is not the highest point. Okay? You could have been tempted to choose standard form, but I would not choose that, especially if they give you the x-intercepts. Okay, so factored form is this, and the first thing you're going to do is write down the form, and my p-value is -2, my q-value is +3. Okay, let's annotate it. P, notice I'm not highlighting the negative sign, is -2. And then q value of 3, q equals 3. Again, notice how I did not have the minus sign. Your x value is 0. Okay, and this one, remember you have to have x used twice. And then the y value is 6. You're solving for a. Opposite of -2, again, use your calculators. There's a lot of mistakes right here. So that's 2. 0 minus 2 is -3. You are multiplying. So that's -6. A. If you divide both sides by -6, do the step over here because I saw a lot of students miss this. A is -1. Okay, if you solve for A correctly, A is -1, you got a 3. If you got A is +1, that probably moved you down to a 2. Okay, now that you have A is -1, put that there, your P value, and then your Q value. Okay, so this is now in factored form. So I gave you 3.5 points if you got to factored form. But it says in standard form. So how do you get into standard form? You're going to have to multiply these. So I chose to multiply these first, Euler box method. You write them on the outsides, you multiply, and then you add. So x squared, that becomes -1x, -6. Then I distributed the -1. And this would be my answer in standard form.
That's all for today, Rebels. Have a mathematical Monday.